Hello and welcome back to another edition of Raw out of 10 right here on the Wrestle Debate. It is the go home show for Summerslam, although it didn't feel like it. So let's review this absolute masterclass of a show right here. Drew McIntyre kicked off the show and wanted to talk about Orton. McIntyre called Orton out for being evil after what he did to Ric Flair, and he reminded Randy Orton that he was facing him, not Ric Flair, at SummerSlam, and that he was going to hurt him. Retribution! Then attacked the production truck mid-promo and took out the crew with baseball bats before forcing one employee to take the show off air as we headed for the commercials. Backstage on Raw, Drew was trying to get the locker room hyped to face Retribution when Seth Rollins came out and declared himself the leader of the locker room. Drew and Seth argued before McIntyre and Rollins thought they were going to brawl, but then they didn't. 5.75 out of 10 for this. This just undermined the whole WWE Championship segment and shouldn't have been put on in this part. MVP was back out with the boys and accused Apollo Crews of being the brains behind Retribution. Apollo shut him down on Raw and said that if he beat Benjamin tonight, Lashley and Benjamin would be banned from ringside. Benjamin started off strong and took the US champion down early for some near falls, but was hit by a spinebuster from Crews. Benjamin countered with the toss powerbomb and hit a DDT. R-Truth rushed to the ring and the ninjas were behind him as the match continued. Crews used a distraction by catching Benjamin and hitting him with the inside cradle, the most deadliest finisher, for the win, and Lashley and Benjamin were banned. 5.5 out of 10. This didn't make the US title look serious at all, and it just made it look like a joke. MVP then attacked Crews before Ricochet, Ali and Alexander came out to help. Lashley ate a barrage of super kicks from the babyfaces and was sent over the ropes before R-Truth walked back in again and was pinned by Benjamin to become the new 24/7 champion. Garza and Ivar were feuding over Demi Burnett backstage on Raw, and they decided to go one-on-one, and we got into that match. Ivar was in the lead early on as he kept putting Garza down to the mat before hitting a huge senton for a near fall. Vega saved Garza from a dive from Ivar, who took a double knee drop kick for a sudden pinfall. 6 out of 10. I kind of liked it. The match was a bit short, but it was alright, I suppose. There's not really a lot to say. After the match, Demi was seen hanging out with Dawkins backstage, and he mocked Garza by talking about the video that was about to be released. Apparently it features some questionable behaviour. Backstage on Raw, Garza confronted Dawkins and Caruso and asked for that video mentioning earlier, and we saw it. Vega was seen mixing something into Montez's drink from a few weeks ago. Zelina accused Caruso of falsifying evidence before Fall came back on Raw, and Profits attacks Angel and Garza. What a shock that was. Then we got Mickie James versus Natalya in a huge grudge match. Mickie started off strong, and her DDT was met with a clothesline before Seth Rollins and Murphy came out on Raw, and they demanded that Joe tell him if Ray was here tonight. In that confusion, Natalya defeated James. James attacked Natalya after the match, and Seth Rollins said that either Dom or Rey Mysterio showed up on that Raw tonight, not one of them will make it to SummerSlam. 5 out of 10. Mickie James has returned from a year out, and that's how you treat her first match back. Just dreadful. Then it was Bayley and Sasha time. They made fun out of Asuka, who of course they both faced at SummerSlam. They said Asuka's tag partner Kairi was gone, but Shayna Baszler came out to shut them up on Raw. Shayna and Asuka were teaming together. The match started. Nia Jax interrupted the match right away and took out Shayna Baszler at ringside before another brawl broke out as the officials tried to break them apart. Break after a break, Bayley tagged in Sasha, who hit a Meteora. For some reason, this match wasn't DQ'd. After a bit of back and forth, Asuka was caught in a bank statement, and then Shayna came out to break the hold. This was made, and Shayna was dominating for the first time. Banks hit the bank stabber and failed to capitalise. However, Banks broke up the Karafusa clutch before Asuka took her out, while Shayna locked in the Karafusa clutch on Bayley for the win. I'm going to give this a 5.5 out of 10. That may be a bit harsh, but Raw just got me down this week. The match should have been disqualified when Jax interrupted, but there we have it. and this wasn't really the best build for the both of them those matches. But then I'll give them SmackDown to see what they can do, but I'll give this as 5.5 out of 10. Cedric was upset he wasn't in a tag team match later, and Drew McIntyre was talking to Shawn Michaels. Shawn told him not to blame himself for what happened to Ric Flair. HBK was ready to meet Randy and told him to give him space. The Riot Squad was backstage on Raw, and they made fun out of Kay and Royce. Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke were seen talking backstage with Shayna Baszler. Quick side note, but I want to see those together. Make it happen. Then we got into Ruby Riott v Peyton Royce. Riott kicked off the match with a big move and sent Royce outside before sending her into the barricades. Royce turned it around and hit a knee strike before Ruby came out with a back elbow on Raw. Kay interfered by taunting Morgan and Riott before Royce sent Riott into Liv on the outside. Riott was sent back into the ring on Raw and hit the Deja Vu for the second win in the last 2 weeks. I'm going to give this a 5.75 out of 10. I can see what they're trying to do, but it's just the same old repetitive crap week after week. Rey Mysterio and Dominic then returned to Raw. Rey said his eye may not fully recover, but he will still be able to protect his son. They continued talking for a little while before Seth came up on the screen. He was going to be in Dom's corner for the street fight on Sunday. Dom said he knows what he has to do before they hugged on Raw, and Rey said he was proud of defending La Familia. Rollins then said why Rey would put himself in danger is just mind-blowing. Rey and Dom fled the ring, but Rey approached them after more taunting from Rollins. Dominic grabbed a set of kendo sticks and used them to beat down Rollins and Murphy when they came to the ring, and they ended the segment on top. I'm actually going to give this 6.75 out of 10. It's a really good segment, actually, and it's great to have Mysterio back on Raw, and I like his character at the moment. This is good. Stage on Raw. MVP tried to get Alexander to join the Hurt Business, but he refused. Then we got on to MVP, Lashley and Benjamin v Ali, Ricochet and Cruz. Lashley dominated very early on against Ali with a dominator before tagging in Benjamin. Ricochet was in second, and he was eliminated within seconds. Apollo was the only one left and came in with a toss power bomb on Benjamin right off the bat, but getting his first elimination. Benjamin was outside and Cedric Alexander came in from behind and pinned him to become new 24/7 champion. Back after the break, VP missed a big boot and took the toss power bomb for the 3 count. Lashley was up next and was taken down by Apollo for a standing moonsault. After a near fall, Lashley countered the toss power bomb and hit the spear for the win. Back after the match though, Cedric Alexander v Tozawa. Tozawa tried to get his ninjas to help him out, but Cedric took them both out. After a bit of back and forth, Cedric took out Akira with a lumbar check on Raw. After the match, Shelton Benjamin attacked him and pinned him to win it. This was all go 6.25 out of 10. This kind of saved a bit earlier on, and I didn't actually mind it. Back on Raw Underground for this week, Dolph Ziggler killed Ivar from the Viking Raiders. Riddick Moss destroyed some random bloke. Then Marina Shafir, good to see her, took out a random contestant before being ambushed by Nia Jax. Shayna Baszler came out to defend her friend, and Nia fled. And that was Raw Underground this week. Good to see it kind of getting main roster star over. That's really what it should be, his purpose. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. May not be the highest quality, but I suppose it has a function. Then we got Montez Ford v Andrade 2 weeks after Montez Ford was poisoned. Ford started off strong, but took a huge suplex early on. He dropped Andrade soon after, however, and Vega came in to run a distraction. Bianca Belair came in and took out Vega at ringside with a backbreaker. Ford snuck up on Andrade and got distracted, so Montez got the 3 counts for the win. I'm going to give this a 5.5 out of 10. I just can't take it seriously considering he was poisoned literally 2 weeks ago. But there we go. Shawn Michaels was then back on Raw and said that Randy Orton wasn't appreciative of Rick and his help. He said Randy would see it coming when HBK and McIntyre came for him on Sunday. HBK took the RKO out of nowhere and then the punk kick. Drew McIntyre came out and attacked Randy and sent him in on the barricades and over the announce table before checking up on Shawn. Randy returned a second time and hit the RKO on Drew before Raw was all over. I'm going to give this segment a 7 out of 10. Randy's character is just so good this week. this year, and I just can't wait for this match at SummerSlam. I think it's going to be great. Raw this week, Raw gets a 5.75 out of 10. I must say this show would have been a lot lower if it hadn't been for the Mysterio family segment and Randy Orton, because pretty much everything else was just garbage, but those two saved it. I'm going to be honest, did it get me hyped for SummerSlam? No, particularly. Not. This wasn't a classic Raw by any stretch of the imagination. Anyway guys, that is it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about Raw in the comments down below. And remember to follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily wrestling news. Subscribe to my other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace!